welcome to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode number 44. And the title to this episode is The Economic Collapse Show Must Go On. And I think most of you know why I've called it the show, because what we're seeing right now seems like a show. It feels like a reality TV show that's going on, and it just gets better and better each time. As you keep watching and you keep on hearing the news and you see what's going on and all the distractions, and it just continually making everyone confused, distracted, scared, and it looks like they're putting us through some training exercises so we get used to certain things. But before we begin, I just wanted to say I created a new board on the People. It's called False Flags, Terrorist Attacks, and I moved some of the topics there. I didn't have this there before, so if you're looking for your topics that you created, that's where they probably are. And since we're seeing a lot more going on that has to do with false flags and terrorist attacks, I figured I'd make a board for that specifically, so it makes it a lot easier instead of us trying to find where certain things are. And today we're just going to go down through the news, go to the timeline, see what's been happening, and we're going to look at pretty much everything that's going on. And the first thing with the economy is that since the Boston bombing and Texas fertilizer plant blowing up, we haven't heard much about gold. And gold is really in a shortage. I went to American Precious Metal Exchange, and I'm looking at right now the Silver Eagles, and I'm seeing a lot out of stock. And also the premiums, I'm seeing they're at $5.49 or $5.99, depending where you're looking. I even looked at the simple rounds, and most of those are out of stock also. And even the bars are out of stock. So if you look at each one of these major dealers, you can see that they are running low on stock. And they even have a message up top, that even though we don't have it in stock, we're still taking orders, and we're reserving it for you. So they can't get their hands on it, but they still want to sell it to you. So this tells me that everyone is rushing into physical metals that I can see, and I'm purchasing it myself. It's very hard to find right now, but I did this right when it started to crash on Friday. I bought some more on Monday, and here we are. It feels like we're going through the same thing that we went through with the ammo, where all of a sudden you heard about, the gun legislation and the shooting, and I was buying ammo with no problem before, 9mm, 12 gauge, and I had no problem, and all of a sudden it came to a screeching halt, and I couldn't find it anymore. And it's still very difficult to find 9mm, but it feels like we're heading in the same direction. And I know, it feels like there's a separation between the paper gold and silver and the physical gold and silver right now, and it feels like we're at that point, that pivotal point, where physical is going to finally break away from the paper. And Zero Hedge had an article, 10 Signs that the Paper Gold Crash Unleash an Unprecedented Demand for Physical. And they listed from 1 to 10, and you can see the U.S. Mint set an all-time record for the number of gold ounces sold on Wednesday. Precious metal dealers all over the United States are having a really hard time keeping up with demand. Individual dealers all over the country are confirming that they're seeing a lot of shortages. Large international banks are also experiencing tremendous demand for physical gold and silver by customers right now. Number 5, the demand for physical gold and silver is heating up over in Europe. Number 6, on the other side of the globe, demand for precious metals is skyrocketing as well. Number 7, Reuters is reporting that customers are waiting for up to 3 hours to buy gold in Japan. Number 8, according to a Chinese article, there is a mad rush to buy gold in China right now. Number 9, according to Reuters, dealers in Singapore are having significant trouble finding enough supply to keep up with the intense demand for gold. Number 10, Bloomberg is reporting that over in India, people are flocking to stores to purchase gold, jewelry, and coins. And I understand in India it's a big wedding time and they purchase a lot of gold at this time, so this might be a little bit off for that. And what else were we seeing? Well, we're seeing bail-ins by other countries, that they're changing their laws to allow the banks to do a bail-in instead of a bail-out. And we discussed this here with the FDIC Bank of England document. It's been backed up by Forbes. It's been backed up by the interview, I forgot her name, from the chairman of the FDIC, that they will do bail-ins. Your money is not safe. You will lose it. And it looks like Switzerland is also doing this. So we're seeing this in Canada, Australia, Switzerland, United States, Cyprus, the European nations. We're seeing this everywhere because they are setting this up at this point in time to take everyone's money. Why else would they be doing this? Because they know, and we have to think about this, they know if they try to do another bailout, which they've done already, the American people are going to say, and other people in other countries, in England, in Australia, Canada, Switzerland, they're going to say, absolutely not. We are not doing this again. So guess what? All right, we won't do that. We're just going to take your money directly from the banks instead. And we'll freeze everyone's account. We'll take your money, and you'll get the bank's stock, which, if the bank is in trouble, the bank stock is worthless. So that's where we're looking, and that's where we're headed towards. So when they said that Cyprus wasn't a template, they were right. It really wasn't a template because they had the FDIC Bank of England document already laid out in December of 2012. Cyprus was the test. Cyprus was the test to see how people reacted, how the world reacted. And we all just sat back and said, okay, no big deal. And now they have the green light, the go-ahead, to start moving this and ramping this up. And you're going to see this thing completely go out of control when the banks start collapsing, because they're just going to start freezing accounts. You will not be able to get cash. You'll be sitting here wondering what has happened. And those people who are sleeping will really wonder, like, what do you mean it's a bank holiday? What do you mean I can't get my cash? Yes, you're allowed $200 a day. That's what you're allowed. It's going to be a shocking wake-up call for those people who are not paying attention. And for those who are paying attention, I would start taking some of my money out of the bank. That is my opinion. That's what I am doing. I don't care where you put it. Doesn't matter. Don't tell people. That's what you should be doing. Moving on. Now, we know we had a lot of talk about North Korea and their nuclear weapons, and this was all over the news just a couple weeks ago. Actually, right before the Boston bombing. This is all you heard. North Korea, they're getting ready to flip on the switch. They're pointing the missiles at us, and it was just scare tactic after another, and it was just fear mongering, and they just continually did that. And now you hear pretty much nothing. A little bit in the news, but Boston bombing is taking the brunt and the front page of the news. But what came out was that Iran plans to export oil to North Korea, bypassing the U.S. dollar. Everything becomes clearer when you see these things happen, because beforehand, everyone was wondering, why North Korea? I mean, it's a path to China. Yeah, I get that. But now the picture is even clearer now. That here is another nation bypassing the US dollar to buy oil. And this just shows us why we are starting up with all these countries like Iran, like Iraq, like Lebanon. All of these nations have the same exact characteristic. There is no difference. It's whenever a nation decides to sell oil without using the US dollar, these are the places that we call enemy, or the central bankers call enemy. And now everything is becoming clearer. And what we see right now, they are setting the stage for war because we know when the economic collapse comes, they need to cover this up somehow, some way. Obama is now making a complete U-turn and setting aside billions to arm Europe with nukes. To hear the rest of this report, go to x22report.com. And while you're at x22report.com, visit The People. This is a community of people discussing the economic collapse. Again, go to x22report.com to hear the rest of this report. Thank you.